Hello, good morning and a warm welcome to Newsline, live from the Newsfirst studios in Colombo. Joining me this morning is Mr. Sushil Premajanta, the General Secretary of the UPFA.
Yes.
And good morning to you, Bandula.
Morning for us.
Bandula Jayasekara, senior journalist and former diplomat. And in the papers this morning, the Daily Mirror talks of a Northeast re-merger, self-determination and power sharing. It also refers to a story where MR sends letters of demand to Mangala Ranjan Anura. And the Daily News reports on the underworld kingpin shot dead in Tangol, dealing with the killing yesterday of underworld figure Ukwa. And another story that says that MR has given new interpretation to the word thief. So Ceylon Today reports on the STF security for the NDDCB chief, Dr. Nilanga Samarasinghe, who's been given protection by the STF for all his efforts being a public servant. And the Island says that Warner Singh is the victim of intra-party friction, and that MR says no factions in the SLFP, the UNP will be defeated, countered by the story that says Ranil says Mahinda cannot win, and the Ceylon Independent says government bails out Kotalawala, Golden Key repayment starts, and another story that says that the FCID investigates instance of circular trading. Bandula, what do you mean? What is all this business about self-determination, Northeast re-merger and power sharing?
I'm sure we have to study their manifesto first. Even the Sinhala papers are carrying that as the headline.
Yes.
They have to, study it and then comment on that.
Yeah.
But for us, I have something very interesting, more than that.
Yeah.
Because, the headline of the Independent says government bails out Kotalawala. Can a government bail out an individual on the Golden Key repayments?
Well, it is actually a very strange set of affairs because Golden Key was a private company, and they failed, and the promoter was Mr. Kotalawala, Lalit Kotalawala, and we now have a situation where previously, under the previous administration, the Rajapaksa presidency, the central bank proposed a repayment plan taking into account the assets that company had, and came out with a formula of 41%. This suggestion was actually accepted and approved by the Supreme Court of Sri Lanka. Now we have a situation where the government is actually bailing out the depositors, the Golden Key company.
Using the state funds?
Well, using state funds, and they will probably be trying to get hold of the assets of that company, but the central bank already had done that. But
also the same thing now, see, okay, they bail out Kotalawala's Golden Key, but then there's another story here. Will government also repay Danduam and Sakviti depositors?
Well,
so anybody can, cheat and the government will pay it back.
That's right. So it's a strange phenomenon. I don't know on what yardstick, and perhaps some depositors of Sakviti and Daduam turned out that these were sort of Ponzi-style schemes. Now, they may say that there is no difference between Sakviti and Golden Key. Actually, I think that there is only one difference.
What's it?
Mr. Daduam Mudalali was in the habit of dressing in a sarong. I am told that Lalit Kotalawala used to wear trousers.
Oh, that's the main difference.
That's all I can say.
And also there is another thing which I have more questions today. The FCID investigates instances of circular trading. What is circular trading? I mean, if you could elaborate on that.
Circular trading is a series of transactions starting off with one company that invests money in another company, and that company buys another set of shares in yet another company. Then there are interested parties that buy and then sell, and eventually it all ends up in the same company that originally started it. So it's a circle like that. And the difference here is that it starts off at a low price and then it ends up at a higher price. So there's price manipulation.
Instead of circle of life circle of funds.
Indeed, and at some shape or form they're all connected to each other. There are interested parties at every level. And it's interesting that the FCID are looking into this very, at times there can be a cumbersome investigation. But good luck to them. And shall we ask our guest this morning, Mr. Sushil Premajant, good morning and thank you for coming on our show. Can I ask you straight to the point, why should the public trust Mr. Mahinda Rajapaksa again?
That is, of course, if you analyze the present regime of Ranil Wickremesinghe after 8th of January with the minority government, we compare these 6 months to previous regime, of course, then within short period of time, Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe's government lost the trust trusted by the people of this country when they voted for the executive, but due to unavoidable circumstances, now Ranil Wickremesinghe became the Prime Minister with 49 members of Parliament, while the opposition, the present opposition, holding 149 members. So now see the caretaker government after dissolution of the Parliament with 49 members they had. Now they are in the power as a caretaker government. So then they have all these, government power and they utilizing public property and all that during this election without any mandate from the people.
But they helped President Sirisena in a coalition to come into power.
After 8th of January. Oh.
Well, before the 8th of January, when President Sirisena came in.
But that is two different mandates, of course. The President, Maithripala Sirisena, joined the mandate for executive presidency, not the legislative. But Ranil Wickremesinghe's mandate given by the people 5 years ago. So then one can argue that the new mandate is valid than old one. In that case, of course, why they continued the parliament immediately after the presidential election? They would have dissolved the parliament and go for a fresh mandate.
But it's never been done before. A defeated presidential candidate or a retired presidential candidate hasn't come back into parliament. I don't think the constitution even envisaged that.
No, not in Sri Lanka, but in some other countries you find, like now, for an example, one of the superpowers, Russia. So then President Putin, after completion of 2 terms, of course, then he entered to the parliament as a prime minister, and after another term, fulfilling the provisions in the constitution.
No, that was different, Mr. Premchand, because Mr. Medvedev and the Putin, they had a different agenda, because they were not outvoted, they were not defeated. That was a separate arrangement. You cannot compare that.
And then in that case, of course, the Ranil Wickremesinghe has been defeated twice by SLFP or the UPFA. Once by President Kumartunga, and in the year 2005 by President Mahinda Rajapaksa. So then, if he can contest for the 3rd time as a defeated candidate at the presidential election, why President Mahinda Rajapaksa can't contest for at least one single occasion?
But don't you think it's ridiculous? He held the highest office in this country as the president, then he comes back, or he wants to come back as a normal member of parliament.
It is not President Mahinda Rajapaksa want to come for this general election. It is the people, the supporters, the massive support from the people rally around the UPFA insisted President Mahinda Rajapaksa to come forward and save the country.
But how much of that of those crowds were set up by the others who stand to benefit from if Mahinda Rajapaksa remains in politics?
No, it is the general public. not individuals, of course. It is the general public in thousands rally around President Rajapaksa, the former president, and after 8th of January, and they compare the general public, the administration of President Rajapaksa and the present administration. So then people, they feel that they are more comfortable than now during that period. Now see, for an example, now Daily Mirror report the TNA Manifesto. So then we will take it up very strongly within next couple of days. This is mainly the self-determination, of course. People are of the opinion that after defeating the terrorism in the country and starting the reconciliation among communities, of course, this whole topics should not come to the political arena. So then it is President Rajapaksa's government for the first time after 1988 held the Northern Provincial Council election.
It's true, but are we so desperate for leaders now? There is a second rung, third rung in leadership now. See, like you're a very senior member. I mean, don't you aspire to be the Prime Minister of this country?
No, but the thing is, you know, you have to consider the aspiration of the people, and first of all, the aspiration of our supporters. And then, so we have to listen to listen to our people, and then you wait and see after winning this general election on 17th of coming 17th of August. I think then President Mahinda Rajapaksa, once he becomes the Prime Minister, and then he will decide what to do.
But that's the problem we are having here. President Sirisena, it is in whose purview it is to appoint the Prime Minister, has already said that he is not going to appoint Mahinda Rajapaksa as the Prime Minister.
I think you have to stick to the Constitution. I have observed as an attorney, and then with more than 30 years political background, and as the General Secretary of the UPFA, the constitutional provisions are very clear. Even after
Constitution of which?
Constitution, our Constitution, then especially after the introduction of 19th Amendment, the President shall appoint the Prime Minister, the Member of Parliament who commands the majority in the Parliament. So you have to stick to that provision when appointing a Prime Minister after the general election.
What happens if the President sticks to his guns and says, no, I'm not going to do that, I gave my word, before, I've established achieved the 19th Amendment, I'm not going to do it. And he may say, he's already said he's got other seniors to choose from. So what happens if he chooses somebody else?
Oh, Mr. Premjan.
Or he might choose somebody called Mr. Sushil Premjan. What will you do then?
Any responsible citizen, though he is a president or an ordinary person, can't violate the Constitution, right? So then, my personal opinion is President Maithripala Sirisena will stick to the Constitution after the general election.
What about if he appoints you as the Prime Minister? If he calls you up and says, Sushil, you take this on, what will you do?
The thing is, you know, we always respect the decision of the party, and we always respect the seniors of our political party. So therefore, this question does not arise, because we always respect our leaders, our seniors, and our party.
But there are like very clear divisions in your party.
No, it's that when you look at that in certain angles, of course, you may feel like that. But as the General Secretary of the UPFA and the National Organizer of the SLP, after handing over the nomination, there is no division in the party. So then we all united as a result of dissolving the Parliament and calling for nominations. Now, as a one team, we fight at this general election, and we are confident that we can win this election.
Do you have a prediction? How many seats will you get?
I have a prediction, because this is, of course, this is the reality of the 6 months ago, on 8th of January, if we can analyze the results of the presidential election, it's between the betel leaf and the swan, of course. Then you find 5.8 million for betel leaf and 6.3 million for the swan. but the found vote base divided among parties. Now, say for an example, TNA, definitely they will get more than 600,000 in the northern and eastern provinces, and the JVP more than 400,000. Then we have to deduct 1 million from 6.3, then you find 5.3. If we can keep our UPFA 5.8 million intact, of course, then we are ahead of the main opposition UNP. And then if you analyze like that, of course, then you find out of 22 districts, we can easily win 14 districts, and the TNA 3, and the balance for the main political party.
But how come now you say you have developed the north, but how come you failed to gain political, like get elected in the north? Having, you say you have done so much, but how come they don't trust you?
This is not the not about the trust. That is the way the TNA handling all their elections, during elections and the last 48 hours. We have that experience because they always, they never work for the people, the TNA. What they do is, during the election, they take up all these, what you call, old arguments, and they always direct people towards the division in the country. So we always oppose. We have opposed, and we are opposing, and we will oppose any division of the country, and inculcating those type of ideas among the people. So then, if you continue that,
but
of course we can't. It's a very challenging task for entire country or any political party to come to power for the reconciliation.
But why do the people in the north want
that is, of course,
self-determination?
Because they
aren't they? Isn't it because
in the especially in the Jaffna districts, of you find 550,000 voters, of course. But earlier they had more than that, the double. But after incidents taken place in 1983 during UNP regime, of course, then most of the people left the country and went to most of the Western countries as refugees. Now they are second generation. Of course, they don't know what happened here. But the thing is, they are with those cultures, with those Western countries, of course. But they send their funds, they send money for their parents or grandparents, and they totally depend on them.
Yes, but isn't reconciliation all about addressing the root cause of why this tragic event happened?
It is not easy to introduce reconciliation and settle the people within 4 years, of course, after ending the 30 years long war. So it takes some time. We are in the interim period. So then that is why Rajapaksa regime or the government took certain steps to develop the country first, infrastructure, the electricity supply, water supply, healthcare, education, and all that.
In Jaffna, there's only 2% of the people have pipe-borne water.
That is of course not. Government attempted to do that after ending the war by supplying Iranamadu, using the Iranamadu tank and supply clean water to the Jaffna Peninsula. It is the TNA who opposed for this particular project. It is in the pipeline, but unfortunately
this pipeline is never happening. It's
never happening. That is because of their petty politics of TNA.
But
they are always opposing that.
But Ms. Premchand, now see, during the times of Hector Kobbekadu or Mrs. Bandaranaike, our brothers and sisters in the north trusted this LFP. What happened to that vote base?
No,
it has eroded, isn't it?
No, it is not eroded. Then what happened to the UNP vote base? Now see, for an example, in 1977, in Calcutta electorate, Batiklo, won by KW Devanayagam. Now what is the vote base of UNP in Calcutta? If you analyze the last provincial council election, they got only 2,000 plus votes in Calcutta. Then what happened to UNP vote base there? So then it is not the UNP or SLFP. It is the TNA and the supporters of former LTTE. They created that situation in the northern province.
Mr. Premchand, what do you think will be the key issues that the UPFA will be campaigning?
Yeah, of course. Then I am very happy to announce that within next 24 hours we are going to introduce our election manifesto for the year 2015. So then we have seen what happened during last 6 months. The present government not stick to the promises given by them during presidential election, though it's a presidential election. But this time we have very attractive and very firm election manifesto, which will be announced tomorrow, addressing most of the burning issues of the people. And also, for an example, after 8th of January, you find all the mega projects, most of the mega projects are stopped by the present government, and as a result of the small entrepreneurs and the, even from laborers to engineers, more than 70,000 they lost their jobs and the opportunities. So then, once we come to power, it is mentioned in the manifesto, within 30 days we are going to restore the situation again and allow entrepreneurs, especially the small scale entrepreneurs, to restart their business and restore the job employment opportunities of the people who lost their opportunities within last 6 months. That is one. And our main focus is to youth, because we find 1.5 million youth population exchanging their views through Facebooks and internet. We are going to introduce broadband system to each and every household, given electricity through the national grid. That is 5.4 million houses.
So are you going to present the old issues in a new box?
No, it is not true. If you go through our election manifesto, then you find all these new ideas. So we have gathered from our youth co, and scientists, academics and the professionals. So it is full of ideas of different sections of the society, and we are going to address it.
And what are the main mistakes that this minority government have made in
the
this
mistakes,
last
of course, now see, for an example, they were blaming the last regime for theft, then corruption and all that, but within 100 days, of course, because I'm one of the members of the COPE subcommittee, and it is I who cross-examine the present governor in the committee. Now I can speak openly because the restraining order revoked themselves by...
Well, you're the lawyer, so we hope that you're right, but carry on.
Yeah. The thing is, I am there to speak on behalf of the committee. Of course, even I can do it. Now, I don't want to go into detail, but the thing, if you look at that, of course, there are circumstantial evidence to prove the case that there's a information leak to the public or the particular one particular company to bid for 1 billion bonds. There's a bond issue of 1 billion, but the demand for the bidders for 20.5 billion, out of 20.5 billion, one particular company, that is 15 billion. So then the governor tried to increase from 1 billion to 20 billion, but the officials of the central bank opposed it. Then, of course, he insisted them to go for 10 billion instead 1 billion, knowing very well before the auction that government requirement is 13.5 billion. So the question is, why they go for 1 billion while they needed 13.5? And during the auction, why he insisted at last to go for 10 billion. Then out of 10 billion, 5 billion given to one particular company. So then there's if you go to all the circumstantial evidence.
So apart from the treasury
then you
bond,
can easily prove the case.
I see. And what will you all do if you all are re-elected?
Then definitely, of course, we are not if, of course, definitely we are going to win, and definitely we are going to appoint a very strong commission.
But whilst all this is happening, the people of this country continue to lose money. Are you going to cancel the bond? Are you going to cancel this license to this company?
That is not the
case.
What are you going to do? That is not the case. So there are 15 primary dealers in the country registered during last many years, of course. and there are key players in the market, of course. Then, of course, the earlier system was after 1997 for many years, of course, direct placements. But after so many years, then they changed the system and they went for auction. During that period, they increased interest from 9.35 to 12.5. But if you analyze all these details, of course, then you find then even sometimes it went beyond 12.5, and then the average rate came to 11.73. But however, nearly 3% lost as a result of.
But what about the corruption under your government?
That is, of course, we are going to appoint an independent commission strengthened by Act of Parliament, and then in 1970 Mrs. Bandaranaike came into power. Our previous regimes, of course, they appointed commissions. So then anybody can go before the commission, and then if they are innocent or they can prove it. But now, of course, for an FCID, there are no opposition to prove their innocence at that level. But then they have to, after suffering in remand so many months or weeks, of course, then only they can go to courts. It's pending in the courts, the legality of FCID. So therefore, I am not going to speak about FCID. My personal position is it's illegal, violating the fundamental rights of the people. This government came into power pressing for freedom for information and all that. But unfortunately, with our support, of course, after passing the 19th Amendment to the Constitution, still the acts not being passed in Parliament.
I think, speaking as a member of the media, I can definitely say that we have certainly got more freedom now than we had under your government.
My position is you are getting more freedom after 18th during our regime than now.
But you still haven't answered the question. What are you going to do with the existing treasury bond?
Existing treasury bonds, of course.
Will you cancel it? Will you reverse it like the national NSB, the finance transaction, like when Dr. Jayasundara reversed that whole transaction? There is nothing to say that you can't. Will you reverse the transaction?
That is all. It all depends on after finding all the facts, and we'll appoint a very strong commission within short period of time. With that report, of course, we can take the decision.
And very quickly, we have the Prime Minister who says that he saved, through stiffer negotiation, he saved the country 30 billion or about 40% on the outer circular highway. What do you say to that?
That is, of course, outer circular Colombo outer circular road. The construction due to Japanese company. It's Japanese funds.
Right.
The phase 1. Of course, normally it is my personal opinion, and with some experience within last 15 years as a minister, time to time, of course, Japanese, they are stick to their norms. They'll never overestimate, and then they will never keep any room for corruption. So therefore, I think it is mistaken by the Prime Minister or the government, and my position is the outer circular road, the project is within their norms and then conditions.
So you're saying that the Prime Minister is not actually.
No, Prime Minister, he says now, see how many billions we lost during last period as a result of direct placements and all that, but as a result of direct payments, all these interests went to government institution, 90% given to ETF, EPF or the insurance corporation. But in this case, this one particular case, you find all these as a result of increasing the interest rate for the auction, then you find colossal loss made to the central bank, that is public funds.
Thank you, Mr. Premajanta, for having joined us at News First.
Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. I'm always ready to come here and share ideas with you.
Please come back on our network.
Thank you. I thank you, Bandula and News First, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you, Bandula, for joining me this morning. I thought during this period of trying to elect good governance and so on, one must really hold friends with both hands. But equally, the death of a friend is equivalent to the loss of a limb. On that note, I'll wish you a good morning, God bless, and thank you.